Hello everyone, welcome to TanMan. Today I'm with a man known from Pune to Portugal to France to US and many more places for his 25 plus years of experience and excellence in the field of Ayurveda, Dr. Mahesh Sabade. Today we are going to be asking Dr. Sabade about No Nut November, a trending topic, and to know his views and give us the beneficial share of point of view coming from Ayurveda. So, Dr. Sabde, starting with this trending topic, I would personally like to share some of my experiences with you, and we shall know your point of view on how
Absolutely.
it was for me and how it should be for everyone else as well. For me, masturbation came into my life around 10 years ago, and since then, I was trying to challenge myself a few times to stop doing it when No Nut November wasn't introduced in the first place.
Yeah.
I felt during those times when I was challenging and going through this phase of not doing it from a very long break. So I feel that I was energetic, I was motivated in my studies, in my sports, and I was feeling stronger. Then usually when I was doing it for a longer period of time, I used to feel very weak, and it was sometimes saddening, and I used to feel guilt that I don't have control over myself, or I need some discipline of how am I doing it, why am I doing it, and is it taking me to the right place or not. Personally, I know I know why this topic is very trending, as I have been through the same stuff and I can relate with all the youth that is coming to this particular topic. But are there any real benefits coming from Ayurveda point of view of doing this challenge?
Good. First of all, thank you, Rishabh, for having me here and planning this recording. So, this particular topic of discussion, so in your question, you have summarized everything and you have answered your question itself. But I'll just elaborate it from Ayurveda's perspective. So, first of all, when we think about masturbation, so I would call it a quick fix. So it's
Right.
not a complete solution to your happiness.
Right.
So Ayurveda looks at a sexual activity from a perspective or from an angle which is much broader. Ayurveda also specifically understands this act as an experience of all five senses. So when you get all those five senses, that's like you are really satisfied, satiated,
Right.
and that's like Paramocha Ananda, we would call it.
Experience that cannot be shared in
Absolutely. And like in English, we would call it climax.
Right.
But I always feel climax is not sufficient because we have used it so many times and at so many instances, which is not that appropriate when I am talking about the Paramocha Ananda kind of word or concept.
Right.
So I would say this is what Ayurveda talks about sex. And in any of Ayurvedic texts, or for that matter even Kama Sutra, you would hardly find importance of ejaculation. So it is basically a complete experience, not just the masturbation, not just the ejaculation.
Right.
And on the other hand, what Ayurveda teaches is that ejaculation, when you ejaculate, you are allowing Shukra Dhatu, one of the 7 tissues, one of the vital tissues of your body, to eliminate from your body.
Right.
And it is just for the sake of your mind. So you are just eliminating it out.
Right.
So I would say that when you eliminate that particular tissue out of your body, so you are losing a lot more energy from your body.
Right.
That energy could have been saved, could have been used for better kind of activities, better kind of work in your life.
Right.
And the thing why masturbation happens, because we want to relax ourselves.
Right.
So I would say relaxation, frustration, sometimes anger. So you want to get rid of it. You want to move from a particular zone to a different zone, which is more of a relaxation.
Right.
There are people who do masturbate for inducing sleep. So there's sleeplessness, and when I masturbate, I feel I get a good sleep. This is
Right.
how people usually
Right.
associate masturbation with. But the thing is, so these are really speaking certain situations in our life which need some additional support, some additional medication, some additional help.
Right.
But we try to quick fix it with masturbation.
Right.
So, from that perspective, I would say, like according to Ayurveda, we specifically say that ideally we should not be doing masturbation.
Okay.
That's what Ayurveda says.
Right.
So if you are doing it no nut November, that's at least 1 month
Yeah.
is saved. Like this much
Right.
amount of Shukra Dhatu or the
Right.
seminal fluid is saved in your body.
Right.
There's another concept by saving Shukra Dhatu.
Okay.
So when you save Shukra Dhatu, it is one of the dhatus that you hold inside your body.
Mm-hmm.
And when it is supported by a balanced state of mind,
Mm-hmm.
so that all 7 dhatus, the essence of all 7 dhatus is stored in your body in form of oj.
Right.
So oj is a word which is like the essence of all 7 dhatus.
Right.
And you and our listeners must be aware or must be familiar with the word ojasvi.
Yes.
We know the word ojas, ojasvi.
Yes.
So ojasvi means a person who has got excellent essence of all the 7 dhatus. And when you have that, your health is better, your aura is excellent, you can achieve best of the best things in your life. So that is what Ayurveda looks at this particular concept.
Right.
But in this era, over the period of time, people have just shortened this particular activity to masturbation. So that's why I said it's a quick fix.
Right.
And quick fix for the sake of our mind, for the sake of our relaxation.
Right.
So why not we get that relaxation from something else?
Right.
If you want to have sexual experience, it should be a complete experience,
Right.
not a quick fix.
Right.
And what happens is when we start running behind quick fixes,
Right.
so we lose the essence of our life.
Right.
And then we just feel happy with only one thing. And then it becomes habitual.
Right.
And then it becomes addiction.
Okay.
And then it becomes difficult to get out of it.
Right.
So that's the whole thing about masturbation.
Right.
So in this particular context, if we are able to do No Nut November, we are actually achieving, or we are going one step further in controlling our mind.
Right.
So mind is the first thing, and then
Right.
comes the masturbation or ejaculation.
Right.
So you have to control your mind, which is the most important thing in our health. So
Right.
mind and body, according to Ayurveda, go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So if mind is powerful, mind is healthy, your body stays healthy.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right.
So if your body is weak, your mind will start showing, like mind gets boggling.
Gets
Then-
down.
Exactly.
Yes.
You feel down,
anger,
you feel
frustration,
anger,
yes.
anxiety, all sorts
Right.
of things like that.
Right.
So to avoid that, I'll give you another perspective. Ayurveda is the science, or Ayurveda is the system or the philosophy
Right.
which always has a very long-term approach. So it doesn't look for quick fixes. It just looks for excellent health for the mankind.
Right.
Not just the quick fix for, okay, I'm feeling depressed, let me have some relaxation through this app.
Yeah.
So that's what Ayurveda recommends.
Yes.
But at the same time, nowadays we are seeing many people who are suffering from these kinds of conditions, like minor depression, feeling down, feeling not so happy in workplace, at home. So for them, this is like a solution. So until they find the best solution, this may be okay if their health allows it.
Right.
So this is one aspect.
Right.
But again, how much, when, and how frequently,
Right.
that also is important.
Right. So coming to the next topic,
Yeah.
Doctor, I face this issue of doing it over sometimes and to not being able to control it. So I researched when I was doing it, and till the
Yeah,
time I
yeah,
had not meet you.
right.
So I was doing my research on Google, and I came up with this particular practice of ejaculating but not finishing off. It is
Right.
called aging, I guess.
Exactly.
So I felt particularly that when I wanted to masturbate, or when I wanted to do something or try to find that escape which
True.
would come after the Shukra exited my
Yeah,
body.
yeah.
I was trying to masturbate but not letting myself off.
Yeah.
So it was giving me a sense of doing it, but also not letting me go to the guilt side of it after doing it. Like I used to feel like I still was able to control myself before I
Yeah.
saved my urges. So that was particularly from my point of view. What do you personally feel? Was like, is this the practice the right thing to do if not masturbation, or how should one go ahead with stopping their masturbation and
Yeah.
achieving this no nut November state entirely?
Yeah, this is actually a very good question because aging is a very, I won't say a common practice, but it is seen
Right.
in people as a regular habit. Like even couples practice this kind of activity.
Right.
So when you are in this process, aging is like you get arousal, you enjoy the act, but only thing what you do is you stop the ejaculation or you prevent ejaculation from happening. So this in a way is like playing with your body and your mind in a very conflicting way. So what happens is mind is completely focused on a particular act,
Right.
and you deliberately stop that from happening, which is you're creating a conflict in your mind.
Right.
So from Ayurveda's perspective, this is not recommended. And when you get into the habit of doing this kind of practice, so there are chances that Shukra Dhatu may get stagnated, and there is a possibility of Shukra Ashmari, one of the diseases related to seminal fluid.
Oh.
So forget about the disease. I don't want to scare the audience. But the thing is, this is a particular act which Ayurveda doesn't recommend. So from that perspective, it's better that once in a while, if you really feel like releasing energy, releasing Shukra Dhatu from your body, ejaculating, so it is okay to do that. But the point is, if you keep doing it on a regular basis, on what is regular basis, what is the frequency, what is the number, so there's no particular information about number, how many times you're supposed to do, because Ayurveda doesn't allow this.
Right.
So now in this era, when we see patients that okay, there are people who are ejaculating, like masturbating, they feel better. So from that perspective, this is more of an excuse from Ayurvedic doctors of today's era. Right. So we would say, okay, you can do it, but not too frequently. This is how we would say. But let me give you a disclaimer, this is not a very true Ayurvedic recommendation. So Ayurveda strongly says that no masturbation is allowed, but in today's era, to somehow manage or cope up with your mental stress, so you can do it, but it has to be very much under control. So what is the control? So Ayurveda specifically talks about seasons. So there are 6 seasons in a year. So winter is the time when you have sufficient health in your body. Right. So that's the period when you can do it frequently. Frequently, I would say as a practitioner, right, I would say once a week, maybe okay, depending on your health. Because this cannot be a generalized statement. Right. If a very thin, emaciated, weak person who doesn't have proper appetite, metabolism, and if he says, okay, I'm doing it once a week, but that is also depleting his body. Right. So that's not the solution for this individual. Right. So it depends on your health, your own capacity, and accordingly, you may be able to do that. Right. But again, I would reiterate my point that Ayurveda looks in a very broader way. Ayurveda focuses on long-term health. So rather than looking for quick fixes, you should be building your strength, building the strength in your body. Right. and then once in a while if you do it, that's okay.
Right.
So on those lines, this No Nut November is actually a good thing. It is more like a practice to assess how you can control your mind. So that
Right.
is so important.
Right. So I've also seen this condition that a lot of people face, like in youth or maybe in any stage of age. The people face that when they sleep, they finish off in their sleep, and it is
Exactly.
the term is known as nightfall.
Nightfall.
So, what would you say about that in terms of Ayurveda? Like, because Ayurveda does not allow a person to excrete their Shukra Dhatu. So, when the Shukra Dhatu excrete itself from the body, like in the sleep, it's not a
healthy thing.
Yes, not a healthy thing. And how one should be aware of it, how one should take care of it, or consult with the doctor.
And Rishabh, I would add to it, like this is medically called as nocturnal emission of semen.
Oh.
So the semen loss happens at
Yes.
night, and that is uncontrollable. And when that happens, person feels extremely weak, tired in the morning when he gets up.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing which happens. And whenever this is happening, this means the person needs some help through herbs.
Right.
So certain herbs will be beneficial to handle this particular situation.
Right.
And then he can get rid of it.
Yes.
So that's how I would look at it.
So that is a really good explanation about Nightfall. I personally wanted to know what would be the substitute of, not getting into guilt and negative side of not ejaculating if you are doing it for a longer period of time. As I also felt when I was getting out of that, I felt anger, I felt acid reflux, I felt sadness, depression. I felt like the energy was low for a certain amount of time. And to see actually the light behind it, it took me a while. So, what would be the substitute practice one should go during those no nut November period, or a period where they are not doing it for a longer period of time? What should be their mindset? What should be their aim, or trying to approach the better self?
Right. So overall, I would say how to prevent, like we are talking about No Nut November, which makes sense. But in general also, if this act is more of a compulsive act, you cannot control it. So that means there's something wrong with your mind. So try to find out why it has become compulsive in your case.
Right.
Is it your stress? Is it your some kind of depression? Is it some kind of emotion which is pushing you to create that, to let it happen? So try to work on that particular aspect. Work on your physical health, doing regular exercise, doing Surya Namaskar, eating healthy food. So that's always the solution. And many times when we are talking about these things, so it feels like, okay, ये तो पता है, उसमें क्या है? This is what a kind of thought comes to mind.
Right.
But these things have a wonderful weightage. So when you start doing that, it is always beneficial. And on top of that, I would say there are people who just go crazy when they are unable to do this kind of ejaculation.
Right.
So in that case, you need to space these two acts with few days, like not just November but other days also. If you're trying to prevent, or if you're trying to minimize
the regulation,
minimize the frequency, so you should train yourself, like condition your mind in such a way that okay, I'll do it only when this happens.
Right.
Not like when it rains and when it doesn't rain.
Right.
You should train yourself that okay, I'll do it only on a particular day, on like 5th of every month,
Right.
or only Sunday, something like that. So that way, you in a way are looking forward to it if you are that habitual. That is one thing.
Right.
And the rest of the days can go peacefully. That's one thing. The other thing is, during this process, when you are not doing, the days when you are not doing, you're preserving Shukra Dhatu in your body.
Right.
Now the thing is, preserving Shukra Dhatu alone is not the solution. your mind also follow that particular process. So your mind should be calm, mind should be relaxed, and then you're preserving Shukra Dhatu. Then it builds ojan, then it builds mental health and strength.
Right.
So this is something you have to keep in mind and start practicing.
Right.
Otherwise, what happens is you're not ejaculating, you have abstinence, but at the same time, you're all the time thinking about sexual activity, you're all the time watching porn, so that's not going to help you.
Right.
So both the things should go hand in hand, then it is beneficial for your body.
Right. So like any other practice that we do, like exercise, even let's say I join a gym.
Right.
So in the first 3 or 4 days, they'll just give me warm up exercises, or they will train my body to get active in general,
Absolutely.
and then slowly build up to a stage where I'm lifting weights or doing pull ups or push ups, or some intense exercises.
Absolutely,
So
makes sense.
we can take this same approach into our lives in terms of masturbation as well. If you are unable to control it for a month, it's okay. You have to start somewhere. So start less, make achievable goals. Try 2 days, and then you can do it. Then increase it to 4 days. Then increase it to a week, and then slowly you can reach a point where you don't have to do it anymore.
Absolutely. I would add one more thing, like you have planned something like I'll do it once a week.
Right.
But if you fail to do that, don't blame yourself.
Yes.
Don't feel guilty around it. So okay, so this wasn't like I was not able to do that, but next week I'll do it. So that kind of confidence is so important. Now I'll just share a couple of medical things.
Yes.
I've seen patients uh, who have been doing masturbation on a daily basis for almost 30 years.
Right.
And looking at their overall health, anybody can say, okay, this is not a healthy activity. So that's one thing I have to share here. There's one more thing. So when you Google about masturbation and different things, like why masturbation is good, so you will find that okay, doing masturbation can help you prevent prostate cancer. But this is more of a very vague statement. I haven't found any basis, like scientific basis to that. Like how many, when you recommend that, what is the frequency? How many times you're supposed to do? What your age should be? What your health should be? There's no reference about it. But just a vague statement can actually like make people interested in doing masturbation.
Yes.
But on the other hand, when semen is released from the body, so along with the sperm, there is seminal fluid, which is released by prostate gland.
Right.
So if you overuse prostate gland, so it's like you are creating harm to your gland. So forget about cancer, but there are possibilities that excessive masturbation can cause prostatitis or anything related to prostate. So any organ, when you overuse, that starts showing some symptoms.
Right.
So why to do that? Stay healthy, and we can just manage ourselves in a better way.
Right. And I've also seen people facing conditions of erectile dysfunction.
Exactly.
Through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would like to know, like, what would you call this new practice of yours of doing it gradually and reaching to a point where you don't have to do it, and also not feel guilty or low during that state of process. Process.
So as I said, like Ayurveda has a very long-term approach.
Right.
So Ayurveda also talks about viruddhahar, like no mixing fruits with milk, no mixing milk with meat or salt. So this is what Ayurveda talks about. But it doesn't mean that you have had banana milkshake for a day and next morning you will have some disease. That doesn't that is not the meaning of this whole practice.
Right.
So what Ayurveda teaches is that this should be a long-term goal. So if you are practicing a healthy diet and you are preventing these things, so that will build a good strength in your body.
Right.
So that's what Ayurveda says. So on the same lines, not doing masturbation or minimizing your masturbation, so that can build Shukra Dhatu in your mind. That will build your mind to become healthier and stronger and not relying on a particular activity to relax itself.
Right.
So, like relying on something, leaning on something all the time, it's like you are weak, you are not strong.
Right.
So, why not we become strong on ourselves?
Right.
One of the things in this situation is that many times feeling down, depression, that is usually the cause for masturbation or ejaculation.
Right.
So why not we practice a particular act which can build our mind, which can build strength in our mind, like practicing music, meeting friends, meeting people. So all those things are always beneficial. Doing some social work,
Right.
helping people. So these are the things which can give you happiness.
Right.
So why to find happiness only one act which may not be so healthy for you,
Right.
or which is not healthy for you?
Right.
So that's how we can look at it.
Yes.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yes. And I also see that people always give themselves a but reason. Like, I was following this, but I was unable to do it. Or I want to do this, but I am unable to approach it or go through towards it. Or I'm weak. Or, there's always a but reason which they give themselves in starting the process and somewhat not being able to finish it off fully, like overcoming their problem of masturbation or
Yeah.
ejaculation. So they always try to give themselves a but reason. So I want to personally like exclude that but reason and start this practice or process as no but November.
Perfect.
Yes.
Very nice. I like that.
So,
So because but is basically showing you
right.
the mental weakness.
Yes.
So make like build strength in your mind and just face everything.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Sabade. It
Thank
was
you.
amazing having you here. It was a really pleasure. And thank you so much for your real valuable insights on Ayurveda point of view. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.